Welcome my friends to my 2-year main Genshin account review. I saw people like the last account review, so I've brought it back, and this time we're going to be showcasing my main account, which overall I've put a lot more effort into. Now I can't quite say I'm free to play on this account, as I've bought the Welkin for almost a year straight now, and I've also bought the Battle Pass one time too. But apart from those, I can say I've never purchased anything else. On this account I try to complete pretty much everything there is. I've completed all the main quests to get this nice looking clean quest log here, as well as the character one too. That's all done as well. Let's not talk about the character hangouts. You're gonna have to pay me to do them. They're so boring. I also have every single oculi there is, so all my statues are maxed out at level 10. Now my map could still definitely use some work. It's got some good exploration in one stat, not much in Liyue. Sumaru's a bit iffy. Desert, not much going on in the desert. I started trying to 100% in Inazuma with this island here, but I sort of fell flat, and I've got a few close, but nah, not really. Technically this account was started in version 1.5, but I only played for about a week then, before I wouldn't touch the game for another 6 months. However, since that day we've played pretty much every day since, and it shows. Not only are we close to AR 59, my mental is on the steady decline as well. Now, with nothing left to do, let's get into the inventory. Starting off with the weapons, and this account has had some pretty good weapon banner luck, especially compared to my second account. The first weapon I ever went for was Raiden's signature, and I won it, believe it or not. And the second one I went for, I also won first time, so yeah, pretty good. As for the other two 5 stars, I got them both from the standard banner, and they're both quite good. Aquila being best in slot for Bennett with that 674 base attack. And Skyward Harp is pretty good too. It gets rotated between a few characters, but mainly just sits on Tighnari. I have quite a few 4 stars at level 90 as well, and yes, I even have the Catch R5. It was worth it. The Dragon's Bane used to be on Xiangling before Raiden got the call up, and the Catch was now suddenly free. And Bennett used to be on the Sapwood Blade here, but he also got the call up, so yeah. Oh, and the one Battle Pass I bought, by the way, was for the Black Sword for my Ayato. Now, moving on to the artifacts, and I don't like keeping half-assed artifacts. If they're not going to be on a character, I set my benchmark at around 30 crit value, and usually just get rid of the half-decent ones. Now again, I'm not going to be spoiling any of my crazy artifacts which are all being used, but I'll show you a couple of the ones that are insane but don't get used right now. First up, this Shimenawa's Feather here, and this is a really nice piece, sitting at a solid 41.3 crit value, with a roll of attack and ER as well. And I also have this feather here, which is just the downgrade of the one before, but still sitting 40.4 crit value, so not bad. This goblet here is really nice, sitting at a 42 crit value. It is a shame it's geo damage bonus, but I'll probably slap it on Xiangling when I get him. I thought I'd show off this piece while I'm at it. It's only at 39 crit value, but that crit rate's kind of nutty, so there you go. And this last piece here, it's such a shame because it's sitting at a 43.6, which is one of my highest crit values, but it's on HP percent. Someone in the future will use this, right, though? Surely? Time for the mats, and I don't have many books right now as I've been leveling up a lot of characters, and I'm also really lazy with my weeklies, so this is all I have. I should farm them more, but I can't be fucked sometimes, so this is all I got. And lastly, I have 15 crowns here, so they're ready to go. I would use a lot more of them if it didn't cost an arm and a leg and more to go to level 10, because to triple crown a character it costs about 5 mil more, which I'm not balling like that, so I don't do it. Let's head on to my precious items, and I have quite a lot of wishes right now. I mean, I've been saving for almost 6 months, as the last few banners have been pretty meh. Oh, and that's not even mentioning I'm right on pity for the character banner for a guaranteed, so 110 pull and I have whoever I want, and I'm also a good chunk of wishes into the weapon banner too, so just waiting to ball out. I also have just under 5 mil more right now, so that's pretty good. I'm just waiting for someone to come out that I want to level up. Alright, on to what we've all been waiting for, and I'll give you a quick preview of my character roster here. This is what it looks like after 2 years, so yeah. It's also worth mentioning I don't have any constellations on my 5 stars at all yet, except for Kaching, who decided to come home 3 times, and I now have a C2. Which is kind of crazy because I also have a C1 on my second account, making that 5 Kachings I now own, so that's awesome. Another big thing to note is that I hate switching artifacts between characters. I like to give them all pieces to keep, so no one shares any artifacts at all here. Alright, let's get started. I'll go in increasing order from my least to most favourite characters out of the ones that I've built, and I've also left time stats down below, so skip around if you want. Let's start off with my Rosaria, and she is level 81 with the Favonius Lance R5, level 90 of course. She's C5, looking for a C6 soon, we'll see. And talents 1, 11 and 11. As for artifacts, she just gets the Ayaka leftovers, as I mainly use it to funnel energy to Ayaka, so I just wanted a good chunk of ER, and I mean a bit of damage wouldn't hurt either. Starting with the flower, and this one isn't bad. It's got just over 31 crit value and a good chunk of ER as well, so not bad. The feather is also pretty good, sitting at around 33 crit value, also with a bit of ER as well, so pretty good. Now I'm rocking a attack timepiece as I get enough ER from my substats alone, and this one it isn't the greatest, only at 27 crit value, but has some ER as well, so nothing really to complain about. Next up is my only other cryo damage bonus piece apart from my Ayakas. And I mean, it does its job, but it's certainly not pretty, is it? And finally we have the circlet, which is actually quite good, giving us 24 ER and a bit of attack as well, so not bad. Alright, so her final stat, she has a 27 183 with 186 ER. Remembering that Blizzard Straya and Cryo Team means that the crit rate is a lot higher than this, but it still should be a little bit higher, but it works well enough for now. Next up, we have Xiangling, who I mainly use in my Ayato team with Bennett and Kazuha. She is level 81 and has the catch at level 90 R5. She is only C1, I haven't been able to get many cons for her, and her talents are 2, 8 and 9. Now, unlucky for Xiangling, she just gets the emblem leftovers of about 3 other characters, so I mainly tried to put a bunch of ER on her, as her burst is pretty costly, as well as a bit of crit value and attack in there too. Starting with the flower, and this flower is nice, a lot of ER, which is really good, with no wasted rolls either, so not bad. Next up is this feather, which is just very average. It's just like the last piece, but a bit worse, with no crit rate at all. However, lots of ER is good, as it lets us run an attack timepiece, I guess. The timepiece is her off piece, and it's not bad, although it could be better. However, I got this piece recently, and if I can get some more crit value in the flower and feather department, I can rework her build, getting the majority of her ER from the timepiece instead. Now onto the pyro damage bonus goblet, and it isn't terrible. It's on set and got some crit value with some attack, but definitely could be improved in the future. Okay, I might have said this before, but I have issues. I'm not talking about the brain issues this time, but circlet issues. See, I think I'm up there in contention for the worst circlets in the game. Most of my characters, including my best ones, are just held back by mid-circlet disease. Anyway, this piece is okay because I was actually using this piece until about a couple of days ago, so I can't really complain with this one now, can I? Alright, so she has a 52 123 with also 213 ER. So, not horrible, but I would really like to get that crit rate a little bit higher. We'll work on that in the future though. Next up is Xingqi, who doesn't get too much use these days as Yelan usually gets priority over him. But he's still built pretty good, as he's level 90 with the Sack Sword R2 level 90 as well. Constellations are sitting at a solid C5, looking for that C6, that'll be a big damage increase. And the talents are 1, 11 and 12. So not bad. Now my Xingqi ranks 1 rank higher than Xiangling, at 3rd in line for the throne. Only Yelan and Raiden get their emblem picks before him, but his artifacts are still quite good. First up, the flower, coming in at a solid 34.2 with an ER roll as well, so it's nothing to complain about, not bad. Next up is the feather, which is also really good, coming in at 35.8. The HP rolls are kinda dead, but yeah, it's good. I've got him rocking an ER timepiece, which is his off piece, and it's not bad, 32.6, so it could definitely be better, but it's alright. I seem to have lost the footage for the goblet, so I'll just skip past it. No one really needs to see it. Or this piece either, actually. Let's just get to his stats. Alright, fine. Get your laughing out now. I know it's only barely 20 crit value. Let's just move on, hey? Alrighty, so Xingqi has a 62-138 with 237 ER. I could probably build him with a little bit less ER, but usually run him single hydro. Don't want to worry about ER problems. He could definitely be improved in the future though. If I can get the goblet and circlet up to par, he'll be pretty good, so yeah. Next up on the chopping block is the 6-star healer himself, Bennett. You alright there? I'm trying to intro you, buddy. Now, I've completely maxed out his attack buff, getting the highest possible base attack in the game. And I did that by level 90ing him with the Aquila Favonia with 674 base attack, so pretty good. Plus I got his talents to 1-8 and crowned his burst. Oh, and he's C2 as well, so that helps. He is rocking the 4-piece Noblesse, and substats don't really matter too much here, so I mainly went for a blend of ER, crit value, attack and HP. I'll quickly go through his artifacts, starting with this flower, and it's alright, it's got some good substats, a lot of ER too, so not bad. Again, feather, it's just alright, got a lot of attack and crit damage, so not terrible. The timepiece is quite nice, good chunk of crit value, and let's just pretend this line here is something like ER, okay? Can we do that? The goblet is good, dead EM roll, but apart from that, substat's pretty good. And onto the circlet. I mean, it's a circlet. I don't know what to say, man. It's just there. Alright, so I have his base attack at 865, which is the highest possible, and he has a 52-115 with also 211 recharge. So he definitely does his job. Alrighty, now I'll speed run through my Kokomi as her build is kind of boring, but I like her playstyle, and even though Bennett is technically better than her, I would choose her as a healer over him any day. So, she is level 90 with the Thrilling Tails, R5, level 90 as well, and talents are 8, 9, and 8. As for artifacts, I'm running the 4-piece Tenacity, and substats don't matter a whole lot. I just need some HP on them, preferably. That'd be nice. First up, we have the 20% defense flower. It's 18 recharge though, so it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Then we have a 20% HP piece. EM rolls kinda tough, but we move. This piece is actually quite nice. HP's very useful, attack's alright, so yeah. Now I've gone for a Hydro damage goblet, as it doesn't matter that much in terms of healing potential, so decided to get her damage up a little bit more. And I mean, the substats are substats, let's just move on from them, hey? And finally, I have a healing bonus circlet with, again, let's just skip past the substats, hey? So, I have almost 33,000 HP with also 176 ER, not bad. And even without good artifact substats, she does her job just fine. Tighnari is up next, and when I lost the 50-50 to him, I thought I'd never touch this guy. However, here we are, and honestly his quick swap playstyle is really fun, so I decided to build him. So he is level 80, and he has the Skyward Harp level 80 as well, and talents are 7, 7, and 6, which I plan to get even higher, but man, this dust thing, holy shit, this is annoying to farm. Alright, as for artifacts, I've given him the 4-piece Gilded Dreams, and I'm looking for a good balance of crit value, EM, and ER from them. First up, with the flower, and this is a really nice piece, sitting at about 39.6 crit value, which isn't bad at all. Dead defense roll hurts, but good start to the build. Next up is the Feather, sitting a bit lower at 35 crit value. Again, dead defense roll, but ER substat 2, that sort of balances it out, so not bad. Next up, I'm running an Attack Sans, and it's pretty good, sitting at 34.2, and on sweat as well, so definitely will take that. Now to the Goblet, and I mean, you would think I have a good Dendro Goblet at this point. In the year or so we've had to farm them, but I mean, this is as good as it gets for me. I mean, it is not horrible. All stats are useful here, except the 8% HP. And crit damage is a lot more important, as I already have a lot of crit rate from the Skyward Harp, but it could definitely be better. And last piece is pretty good as my standards go for circlets. It has a good chunk of ER, bit of crit damage, and EM as well, so definitely not bad. Alrighty, his final stats. He has a 8170 with 124 ER, as well as 178 EM. He has a pretty good build, but it could still definitely be improved in the future. Next up, we have the Dendro Goddess herself, Nahida, and I think she's a really fun support. I usually run her in my main exploration team with these three other characters. So she is level 90, she has the Sack Frags level 80 R4, and I'll get it to level 90 soon, I'm just lazy. And her talents are 1, 8, and 6. Now as for artifacts, originally I put a full EM set on her just to buff my team, but I've decided recently to go for a more offensive option as she does some good damage as well. So I went here for a blend of EM, crit value, and ER. Oh, also I keep her on Deepwood, even though Gilded Dreams is technically better for damage, because no one else runs Deepwood in my team usually, and it needs to be run by someone, so why not her? Getting off to a good start with one of my best pieces on this account. This one clocks in at a solid 44.3 crit value, with also 12.3% ER. I kind of wish the one ER roll went to crit, so I could have a second 50 crit value piece. But it's alright, the piece is really nice, it's still really good. Next up is the Feather, and this piece doesn't look very good, but it is good. All stats here are useful, it's just a mega split between them all, so it looks kind of weird. So I'm still on the lookout for a better piece, but it does its job for now. Next up, we have the EM timepiece, and I'm rocking this offset one, which is pretty good, with only a dead attack roll. The recharge and crit value are both quite useful, so not bad at all. Next up is another piece that looks pretty bad, but I mean it's not that bad. It's got a good chunk of EM as well as crit damage. The 2 HP substats aren't useful at all, but apart from that, it's not bad. And finally we have the Circlet, and again it's just a mega split between everything. It was only a 3-line start with also a wasted HP roll, but not bad as circlets go for me, so I'll take it. So her final stats, she has 643 EM with also a 54 130. Oh, and 150 ER. The crit rate could definitely be better, but overall it's not bad. It's a nice balanced build. Next up is Kazuha, and my Kazuha is mostly used on my Ayaka team, which used to struggle with energy issues, so I decided to build my Kazuha to help out with that. So he is level 90, has the Xiphos Moonlight level 90, which is really good for ER needs, and his talents are 8, 9, and 9. I've got him rocking the 4-piece Viridescent, and I'll quickly go through the substats for them. The Flower isn't bad, 70 EM, can't complain. Feather is not great, only 23 EM, but also a good chunk of ER, so not bad. I'm rocking a EM timepiece at the moment, but when I'm playing my Ayaka team, I usually switch it over to this one, which definitely gives me enough ER for the team, and also has a bit of EM as well, so not bad. And if I'm in a team that doesn't need as much ER requirements, I'll go back to this one. The substats aren't great, but it's EM. Next up we have an EM Goblet, which also has 11 ER. I'll definitely take it. Flat defense is pretty high, but whatever. And for the Circlet, I mean it's a trend now, isn't it? It happens to be the best I got, so let's just move on. So with the ER timepiece, he has 786 EM with 179 ER. And when we switch to the EM timepiece, he has 933 EM and 127 ER. So not horrible. but he could definitely use some work still. Next up is Yelan, who might be one of my favourites for just general overworld stuff to do. So I decided to invest a bit into her, with her sitting at level 90, with her signature level 90 as well. And her talents are 7, 8 and 9. I'm still working on her talents, and I plan to get them about 8, 9, 10 eventually, something like that. Now my Yelan is second in line to the throne, so she's rocking my second best emblem pieces, which are still pretty good. Starting off with the flower, and this piece is quite good, coming in at a 34.2 crit value, plus 11.7 HP too, which is really nice. Next up is this piece, and it's not the best piece you've ever seen, just under 30 crit value, but 9.3% HP is good. I've tried switching it out with my Xingqi's piece here, but it works out better sacrificing some crit just for HP. Oh, and the 10% attack kind of hurts, as it's just not useful on Yelan at all. Next up we have this ER timepiece, which again has some wasted attack rolls. But this piece is pretty good for an ER timepiece, sitting 27 crit value with 8.7% HP. Not amazing, not horrible, sort of in the middle. Next up is this really nice Hydra damage bonus piece, which is coming in at 34.2 crit value. Also with an extra 2 HP rolls as well, doesn't hurt anyone. Now I'm not going to spoil my Ayato's piece, but he has the upgraded version of this piece, which I decided to keep on him, as this piece has HP percent, which Yelan will definitely use, but if I wanted to fully optimize Yelan, I would give her the other piece, it would work out better. And I mean, do I have to say anything? I really don't want to talk about it. I've been farming emblem forever, and this is actually my best emblem circlet I've ever got. Now I saw some comments talking about switching it out for an HP circlet, which I do have. However, to run this I would need to rework my entire build because the crit rate's so low that I would have to find a lot more crit rate in all my other pieces, which I just don't have overall. So at the end of the day, it just works out better for me to run a crit rate with some shit substat rolls. Alright, so her final stats. She has 28,000 HP, which could definitely be higher, but when I'm running dual hydro, it goes up to 34k, so it's not bad. And I have an 86-16, as well as 172 recharge as well, which I find is a pretty good amount for the teams I run her in. She's not quite as good as my second account's Yelan, but she's still definitely up there. Next up we have the big hatted and emo boy, the Wanderer, and I have my Wanderer at level 90 with the Widsith R5 level 90 as well, and his talents are 8, 9 and 8. As for his artifacts, he's on the 4-piece Desert Pavilion, and I spent 2000 resin when it came out and like an extra week in that domain, and I haven't touched it since, so it's fairly similar to my build from like 6 months ago. Starting off with a bang, we have the 42 crit value flower. I mean, not much to say, just a really nice piece, just your run-of-the-mill 10-20. Next up is the feather, and this piece is also quite good. A little bit less crit value, only 34, but also 2 ER rolls as well, which is definitely important. I'm running an attack sands on him, and I mean, it's definitely a piece, hey? Imagine that defense is ER, and we are absolutely on. But yeah, let's just move on from that one to this one, hey? Now this is one of the Anemo goblets of all time. And I mean, I have this Anemo goblet here, but I don't have a good mask on set, so I can't switch it out. I mean, this one, it isn't that bad, hey? It gives me a good chunk of ERs, so it's not the worst thing you've ever seen, right? And the circlet I have to run off set, and this is about as good as it gets for off-piece circlets, so I'm happy with it, it's fine. His flower and feather are bloody carrying this. He could definitely use some improvements in the future, but I honestly don't use him as much as I thought I would when I got him, so I doubt I'll return to the domain for a while. But anyway, he has a 76-182 with 128 recharge as well. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, there's definitely better wanderers out there. Next up, we have one of my favourite characters of all time. When I first saw him, I really didn't like his playstyle, but it really grew on me. And now he's probably one of my best characters. Oh, he's also 150th in the world out of over 50,000 builds, so not bad at all. So I have him level 90 with the black sword level 90, and talents are 1, 9 and 5. I'm still working on his talents, and eventually I want to get it to 1, 10 and 8. As for artifacts, he was on the 4-piece echoes for a while, but my pieces were very average, and echoes on high ping, which I have, is kind of tough. So now he's got my best Shimenawa's pieces, and he's a lot stronger now. First up is the flower, and before you miss it, this is crit rate. So it clocks in at a 34.2 with an extra ER roll as well. Not bad at all, but definitely nothing compared to this piece here. This feather is absolutely peak, starting with 4 lines of perfect substats and rolling 36.6% crit value, along with an extra attack roll as well. Apart from being kinda low rolled, it will probably never leave his hands. Next up, I'm rocking an attack timepiece, and this one, it's okay. It's got a dead attack and HP roll, but it was a 4-line start and still has 35 crit value, so not too bad. Now, I said when I showed my Yelan before that my Ayato got the upgraded goblet, and here it is, coming in at a 40.4 crit value. This piece did start 4-line, lost 1 roll to defense, so kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. It's still really good. It also has a good chunk of crit rate, which lets me run a crit damage circlet, and yep, you guessed it, it's my worst piece by a good margin. I mean, it's got 2 rolls into crit rate, but also 2 wasted ones, and it was only 3 lines, so I don't know, man. I'm on my knees begging for a good crit damage circlet. This Ayato would bloody skyrocket into the top 100 if he got one. Now for his final stats, and we're looking at an 82 to 20, so pretty good. I'm just hoping before 4.0 comes out, I can get a good crit damage mask from the Shimenawa's domain, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore, but we'll see. Next up is the Shogun herself, and she holds a special place in my heart, as she was the very first 5-star I got, and also one of the main reasons I got hooked on the game. So of course she is level 90, with her Engulfing Lightning 2 level 90. No constellations just yet, but C2 is coming soon, so watch out. And her talents are 8, 8 and 10. Now my Raiden is first in line for the throne, and she gets the first pick out of all the emblem pieces I get. However, saying that, there's still massive room for improvement on her. First up is the flower, and it's pretty good, only a 3-line start, but 35.7 crit value and also 12 recharge. It's definitely nothing to complain about, so I'll take it. Next up is the feather, which had a lot more potential, starting with 4 lines. And I mean, I don't know how it has 20% defense with also almost 36 crit value. So I can't really complain, but I mean, imagine if that was ER, this piece would be insane. Next up is the ER timepiece, and this isn't bad as far as ER timepieces go, sitting at 32 crit value. Dead defense roll, but yeah, I don't mind, it's on set, so it's pretty good. Next up is my only Electro Goblet with 2 crit stats that I have in the game. I legit don't have another good Electro Damage Goblet, that's all I've got. I mean, it still is 30 crit value, so not horrible I guess, but if I got a really good offset one, I could try and get a good onset circlet for her. And finally, this is my best circlet in the game. Raiden got first choice on every single circlet I have, and this is what she chose. It was only a 3-line start, but it still has 27 crit damage with 11 recharge, so very good as my standards go. I've just checked my crit rate circlets, and the next highest one only has 22 crit damage. I mean, I'm begging for somebody circlet luck, but whatever, I'll take it. So, her final stats put her at a 66 150, with also 282 recharge as well, so not bad, but could definitely be improved in the future, especially the crit rate. It could use a bit of help. Mute now until the time I show on the screen if you don't like leaks, but I heard that 4.0 might bring a few new artifact sets to the strongbox, including a certain purple and black artifact set, and I happen to have a lot of spare 5-star artifacts to sacrifice. Alright, now onto Ayaka, who is one of my absolute favourites, being the second 5-star character I ever got, and also my first pretty pull as well. She and Raiden are on exactly the same levels as favourites on this account, I know, how unique of me. Anyway, she's level 90 with the Aminoma at R5, level 90 as well. Miss Splitter coming soon, hopefully. And her talents are 8, 8 and 10. She's rocking the 4-piece Blizzard Straya, and if you're not sure what she's looking for, her main stats you want are crit value, of course, as well as a good chunk of attack percent, and a little bit of ER as well to balance it out. First up, the Flower, which is very good, with a 4-line start and only 1 wasted defense roll. It has a good chunk of attack percent, as well as 29 crit value as well. This is pretty good. Next up we have the Feather, and this looks very familiar. This piece is almost identical to the last, with a 4-line start again, 16 attack again, and just a little bit less crit damage. It even has the 1 wasted roll as well, but overall these first 2 pieces are really nice starts. Next up is her off piece, and the best attack time piece I have in the game, sitting at around 39.6 crit value. And an ER roll as well, so not bad. I got this piece like over a year ago, and it hasn't left her hands since, so there you go. Next up is definitely my worst piece, sitting at only 31 crit value, but it's on set, so it's not too bad. Goblets are rough to get on set, so I definitely can't be mad about this. But in the future, I might head back to Strongbox to try and get a better one. We'll see how it goes. Now, as for circlets, I have a dilemma. Right now, I'm rocking this one, which is alright, but I would like to rock this one, as it has less wasted stats and a good chunk of attack as well. But with this piece, my crit rate in ER is too low without it. So ideally, I need to change my Cryo Goblet or attack time piece to something with more crit rate and ER, and then I can put it on this one and it will be very balanced. Anyway, she's still really good for now, but with what I've said, she could definitely be a bit better. So right now she has 2200 attack with a 41 225, as well as 115 AR as well. This is really good, but her ERs are a little bit on the low side. That's why I run usually Kazuha with the ER timepiece, and also funnel energy with Rosaria as well to her. So it's not bad. And if and when I get the Miss Splitter, I'll have to rework her whole build, but it should be better overall, I hope. Alright, so what are my future plans for this account? And now that I have enough wishes to get 5 5-stars at the start of 4.0, I'm ready to go nuts. There's a few characters that have caught my eye, but I'll wait and see how their playstyle looks until I decide if I get them. The biggest thing I do want to do is C2 my Raiden, because why not? Bigger number equals better. And as for characters that are out now that I want, Xiangling is definitely up there, and maybe a Shenhe for my Ayaka team, but that's really about it. As for my resin, I'm going to stay in the emblem domain until 4.0 drops, and then I'll jump into one of the new domains when they come out. Anyways, if you stuck through the end, good on ya. It's quite a long video, it took a while to edit, but I hope you enjoyed watching, and thanks for watching. So, more videos coming soon in 4.0, so stay on the lookout. See ya.